Hey, how you doing guys? ZedEye here. So today I wanted to share my review on DualSense Edge PlayStation 5 controller. Now, I've been playing around with this controller since the very first day of its release. I paid the full price tag for it, and I'm gonna be sharing as well, like, if it's actually worth that price tag about being more than 200 bucks. That's actually a lot of money, and I think that, a long story short, unfortunately, no. Unfortunately, it's not worth that price tag. But also, I want to get into the few gripes that I had initially, as including, of course, many others. For example, the main element being that very, very low battery that this controller contains. It has even less battery than the normal DualSense controller. Now, in this case, I don't think that was much of an issue, if at all. Like, I barely encountered when I needed to truly charge my controller, but it's also because the cable is so lengthy that I constantly had it basically plugged in. Constantly. I'm not saying all the time and every single time, no, like occasionally I did turn, unplugged it, because it's always better to, have it unplugged occasionally, because these batteries, they can get bad over the years. Now, I'm planning to still use this controller. This, by the way, controller is my primary controller. Since I got this controller, never once even that I've actually reverted back to my normal DualSense controller. It's not because that original controller is broken or anything like that. No, it's not. There's no issues with it. And also because this controller, DualSense Edge, is a good controller. It genuinely is. But I'm not gonna say and lie to you and say that is that good being worth of 200 bucks extra of a price tag. No, unfortunately it's not that great. I gotta mention as well this is such a nice feature. I love the cushion, the shell that it comes in with. Like, you can constantly put your controller inside there and store it nicely and neatly and make sure it doesn't get dusty, it doesn't break if it falls or something like that. It's so nice. I think that's like so awesome, so convenient, and I usually practically every single time when I'm done playing my games. And talking about games, I've been playing quite a few other different titles, right? It's been already a few months since the release of this controller, and I've been playing a lot of different varieties of genres. I played shooters, I played like Grand Theft Auto as an example too, Call of Duty as well. I played Forspoken, I played Metal Gear Solid 5. I played many different varieties of games, like just on top of my head, there's also including like Assassin's Creed titles as well. You see, it's actually so many diversities that you can have with this controller that genuinely makes it nice, including that it has those back pedals, and when you use it properly and actually is useful, is genuinely nice touch. But because some games that don't really not require of you touching the face buttons too often, these back pedals are kind of becoming useless in this case. And most of the time I only have like these back pedals because if you guys did not know, you can remove them as well. I always kept them on though, because something about them is just feels so nice. They're metal feeling, right? They're not plastic, they don't break, they're not gonna bend on you either, so that's fantastic touch. And I like them because it actually makes it kind of nice to touch, and it's something very satisfying about it as well. Even if you're not using it, just a click of a pedal, it makes it such a nice, satisfying, kind of clicking noise that it makes. And so, when you do use it more often than not, as an example with Call of Duty, when you want to reload your weapon or maybe change your weapon if you map it like that, or maybe you want to crouch as an example or use it as a melee hit, you see, like, there's always nice touch because this is necessary, because you need to be very quick and on response, quick, always, constantly, because you're trying to shuffle things around while you're in a multiplayer match, so it makes things quite challenging. I love playing with this controller of Grand Theft Auto. While I was playing Grand Theft Auto single player again, Grand Theft Auto 5 specifically, I've actually constantly, like the way you run, you have to keep tapping X. Now, even though there's an option to remove that, you can just make it like a normal shooter, more or less. Like, you don't have to actually tap X all the time. But like when I was playing Grand Theft Auto 5, this feature I don't believe was on yet on PlayStation 5, and I just used my pedal. And I kept on pressing it whenever I wanted to run. But occasionally I still diverted my finger towards the X button because I'm so used to it. And it's nice, it's genuinely nice. It kind of makes it a little bit of an option for you to have within games. But occasionally I kept on noticing that I still reverted back to like a normal controller layout, so like pretending as if there were no pedals in the back. Because this is actually good news. It means that pedals are not getting in your way, and having it as an option is always nice. Now, I did hear a lot of people say, well, what about the weight? Because it's been, said that this controller, DualSense Edge, is a little bit heavier than the normal DualSense controller. Now, to be honest with you, I don't feel the difference. There's not much of any difference, in fact. You know, even when my controller's like plugged in, when I got that lock system on it as well, that it comes with the whole, packaging, it's nice. I don't feel it. There's not much weight. In fact, it feels premium. And I want to say this: a lot of people are quite disappointed about the glossy touch on the bottom of the controller where the thumbsticks are. And that glossiness, like, can get like fingerprints on it or anything like that. That's bullshit. That is complete bullshit. Do not believe those people. I've been using this controller. I barely got any fingerprints on it. In fact, the only time my controller gets dirty is from the dust, because occasionally, because my gaming sessions nowadays are just a little bit, how can I say, not as much as I've been playing it just before, basically. And I tend to not turn on my console, my PlayStation 5, for like at least a week. And maybe I put in my controller into my shell, into my packaging, right, beautifully. I don't close it, then the dust can be collected, and of course you can see it a little bit, the dust. And I'm actually looking at my controller right now. It's a little bit dusty. I need to clean it. I haven't played for about a week with the PlayStation 5, that's why. And so, of course, that's not much of an issue. So fingerprint, you're not gonna have any issues with that, so you don't have to worry about constantly cleaning it or something like that. If you maintain your controller properly, you don't even necessarily need to take a tissue or a proper wiping thing and wipe off the controller in the back or on the sides. Maybe you have greasy hands, or maybe you get oily very quickly when you're in a heavy game session. It didn't seem like that this controller attracts all that. It doesn't seem like so, because it has a very nice touch. I'm actually touching the controller right now as I'm speaking about it, and I'm looking at it all over the place. I have not even once properly cleaned this controller since I got it, and I'm looking on the only spots that have like a little bit like a grease or maybe sweat, like dry sweat. It's right beside the top of the controller of the sticks, the triggers, and just there, and it's a little bit of a cleaning necessary. I just wiped it out just a tiny bit, and it's already super clean. It's not an issue at all. I apologize about the footage as well, guys. I cannot show you, unfortunately. I can show you a few glimpses of the controller of itself, but unfortunately I cannot be as high quality out there people that just genuinely making beautiful cinematic shots of their equipment. I unfortunately don't have that kind of a setup, so I can't just show it to you. But hopefully, my voice, or at least the way I described it, at least made a little bit of sense, and hopefully, it has a bit of a clarity in there too. But yeah, being that the controller is more than $200, unfortunately it's not worth it. I'm sorry, because the only thing that I'm using this controller is because of the back pedals, but I don't believe it's actually worth that full price tag. And I'm gonna say it, in a way, I kind of regret that I got it for a full price tag. I said it. Alright guys, well, it's a good controller. I like it. If you have got the money, I encourage you to purchase it. If you're kind of shy on money, or maybe if you're still contemplating about it, if you want to pick it up or not, I advise you not to. You really are not missing out on anything. Well, that's all I wanted to share. Like and subscribe. See you guys all later, and have a wonderful day.